Thank you so much for tuning in to the Awakening with Katina Love show and segment on Inspiration Sunday. I am Katina Love, your host and producer of this show. The Awakening with Katina Love is a go-to resource for self-help, healing, and spiritual growth. I can be reached at love@Katina, Katina, love.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Awakening with Katina Love, where there are over 56 shows for your listening pleasure for you to enjoy. Our special guests today are Shelbie and Hasani Ali. Today we're going to be talking about rekindling with your twin flame. Thank you so much, Shelbie and Hasani, for being a guest on the show today. How are you?
We're wonderful. How about yourself? Thank you for having us, by the way.
You're welcome. I'm awesome. So what exactly is a twin flame?
So a twin flame is someone that you share a very spiritual connection with. When people think of twin flames, they could alternatively think of soulmates. But soulmates are people that you share a spiritual connection with that doesn't necessarily represent the same thing as your twin flame. A soulmate complements you, and a soulmate isn't eternal. A soulmate doesn't stick around with you forever. They have a specific task with you, and then they go about their way. Not to say that that journey wasn't worthwhile, but that's a different type of journey than what a twin flame relationship is. That relationship is when two people meet and they complete each other.
That's wonderful. So the twin flame is when two people meet and complete each other.
Exactly, as opposed to a soulmate where two people meet and they complement each other.
That's awesome. Now, let's talk about soulmate just for a second here. So, like a soulmate, is that beyond, like, just say if you're in a relationship with someone, like a guy and a girl or whatever, can your soulmate be people in your family, people you work with, people that are in your ministry or your life's purpose, your friends?
Absolutely. A lot of times you'll find soulmates as business partners.
Yeah.
Or as teachers. Just someone in your life who has a specific purpose with you.
Now, can soulmates can they last like as long as a twin flame? Say if it's a business partner, someone you're in business with.
Sometimes, if you like to think it that way, some people try to hold on to things because it's so good, and then they start to get upset when, for lack of a better analogy, when the flame dies down, when there's something missing and you can't figure out what it is, and they said, I thought you were my soulmate. Yes, that was your soulmate. They were there for a specific purpose. And once that purpose is completed, it's okay to let them go, to make room for your twin flame to come in.
Okay. So a twin flame, is that just like your personal relationship with your partner or your guy or your girl or partner? So is that just for them, or a twin flame, can it go beyond, like, the personal relationship? Can it be a business partner also? Can you have more than one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I understand exactly what you're saying. Typically on this life plane, you only have one. And you notice you'll have a lot more soulmates that can feel like to the point that they are your twin flame. But there's only one person out there who really completes you. And you may feel like, oh, I found two, and this person completed this part of me, and this person completed the other part. Those are soulmates.
Okay.
We're looking for a twin flame.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So what happens when you meet your twin flame, you're in a relationship with the twin flame, and then they pass on? What happens? Do you stay single for the rest of your life, or do you not meet another twin flame, or do you just keep being in relationships with soulmates?
And you know what's actually funny is I know a woman right now who was talking to me. She says, Shelbie, I feel like I've met my twin flame. But they are both not established as themselves yet, and they can't connect the way that they want to. So they've separated, and they've dated around, but they always drift back to each other. But she keeps telling me, Shelbie, I'm not ready to be with this person. And it's interesting to me because a twin flame is supposed to complete you.
Right.
And if you're not ready to be with this person, then you may not be ready to be completed. Or you may feel like something's lacking or missing, but we're still people. We're still people who are growing, who are trying to mature, and we may not be happy until we reach a certain point that we can invite somebody else in. But we have to remember the purpose of a twin flame is to complete us and make us feel whole. So we have to be willing to accept that.
I love that. That's awesome. Hasani, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, she hit everything right on the head.
Awesome. I'm just kind of thinking, like in my life, when I've met soulmates, and that experience of meeting a soulmate is just resonating. It just feels right. It just feels good.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you finally meet that person who complements such a certain part of you that you never thought you could feel that way about, it's a beautiful experience, and you almost don't want to let it go.
So how did you meet? How did you two meet? You guys, you consider yourselves to be each other's twin flame, right?
Right.
Okay. How did you guys meet? How did you hook up?
Well, actually, funny story. We both graduated from Central Michigan University out in Mount Pleasant, and at the time, I was boxing at the time, and I was training one of her friends for a cage fight. As you know, MMA fighters have to incorporate boxing, wrestling, different types of fighting styles in order to get into the cage. And so I was at his fight at the Soaring Eagle Casino, and Shelbie was actually sitting right in front of me. And after a quick beatdown, we started. So all the people in the crowd started to converse amongst themselves, and a mutual friend of ours kind of popped up in our area, and I started to talk to her, and Shelbie turned around and spoke to me. And ever since then, we got to connected on Facebook and got together, and it was on and going ever since.
That is amazing. That is so interesting. And did you think that was kind of bizarre how you guys met? Because here we are talking about relationships, and you met at a boxing event. So how does that intertwine?
Well,
I don't know, for lack of a better word.
Right. Well, it's funny you say that because one of our spiritual mentors throughout the years said you usually find your longtime partner when you're doing something that you love. And my typical thing is fitness. I love sports. I love competition.
Okay.
So just to find her, during the midst of, what would be like my, heavenly realm, being surrounded by, competitors, athletes, and for her just to be there was astounding. And to go deeper on a spiritual level, we were just growing in our consciousness, and we were transforming ourselves. She was going natural with the hair. I, was in the process of, getting a better diet, meditating, doing all that stuff, and we kind of just vibrated on the same frequency, and we just kind of, locked eyes at the casino, or at the fight, I should say.
I get it. Okay, now I get it, because you're doing your passion about you're into fitness and working out and being healthy. Okay, I get it now. I get it. All right. So can you tell me about your book, Fasting, Making Your Love Electric, that you guys work together?
Absolutely. So we actually, before we got married in August 2016, we've been together for about 5 years now. Going on 6 years? 7 years? Oh, goodness. Going on 7 years. But we recently got married in August of 2016, and before we got married, we knew that we had to detoxify ourselves and really open ourselves to the idea of marriage and the idea of purity and really connecting with one another. So we went on a 33-day liquid fast.
Wow.
Nothing but liquids, waters, juices, soups, smoothings, nothing but liquid for 33 days up until the day we got married, up until the vows. And then after that, we actually enjoyed a celebratory meal together.
Wow, that is amazing and deep.
And, oh, yeah, absolutely. And it was one of the best and toughest things we ever did together, because during that time, when you are fasting, especially when you're fasting with a partner and you're around each other all day, things come out. The truths come out. The aggravations come out. And we almost didn't get married.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it really took us until about a week or two before we got married to sit down with each other and say, we got to make sure this is worth it. What happens if we get married? What happens if we don't? And we really had to sit down and figure it out. And we said to each other, we're getting married. We're doing this. We are going to work through everything together. And we don't know if we would have made it, if we would have been able to overcome the struggles that we had we not been fasting.
Wow.
Because we were able to think, because the toxins were coming out, and they were coming out at each other, and we had to battle them. And during fasting, sometimes you're exhausted, and you're like, I don't want to fight right now. I don't want to argue, and you just want to quit. But we got this last spurt of energy throughout the end of the fast that allowed us to really sit down and think with a clear head and be in tune with our spirituality and be in tune with each other to decide that it was worth it to go on with our marriage.
That is amazing. So when you're fasting, what did you experience? I know, the physical part of it, but what else did you experience? Is it emotional stuff coming out too, or mental stuff?
Definitely. Like she was saying, along with the physical toxins that come out of your body, also the emotions are buried there. You may know somebody who forever loved sweet potato pie, and not because it tastes well, but because the grandmother used to make it. And when the grandmother passed, they ate that pie, in order to cope with their passing. And a lot of times when we don't get our fix, then the body goes into a little, withdrawal symptoms, and you tend to act out of character. And so for us, a lot of it was, everything that the little things that agitated us about the other person was just intensified. Like every little thing was an argument. Everything just set something off. And typically, when you're in your regular dietary habits, some of that stuff you could let slide. Some of that stuff you could bury, put to the back of your head. But with this fasting, everything was just coming out, because the toxins were being purged at such an intense rate that it couldn't, you couldn't help but to just voice, or express what was going on and what agitated you.
Absolutely. And all of that's in the book. Everything that can happen while fasting is in the book, and there are different ways to fast in the book. We tell our story. We open up. We make ourselves completely vulnerable, and we tell the truth about exactly what the arguments were about and how we were able to overcome them. And then we go into a sort of guide where we explain to you, hey, here are the different fasts you can try. There's 4 different fasts in the book, and there's one for every type of relationship, every type of situation, everything that is easy for someone to connect to. So there may be people who can't do liquids for 30 days. And we're not going to ask you to do liquids for 30 days if you don't think it's a part of your mind, body, and spiritual life path to do a liquid for 30 days. You may be able to do a water fast for 3 days. And you may see similar results. It all depends on the type of person that you are, and we expound on that in the book. So we don't want people to go off and think that they're starving themselves for spiritual enlightenment. It's not about that. It's about understanding what fasting is, how you can incorporate it, and how can you use fasting to rebuild and restore your relationship.
It's amazing that when you had reached out to me about being on the show, I was actually fasting.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yes. I was just doing, and I do them pretty regularly, but lately here, because years ago, I was more into doing mostly a raw food diet and some cooked foods, and I had more energy, and I was more. It just seemed like my body was enjoying that more and resonated with that more. And when you have to be regular, it's normal to be regular. A lot of people aren't, but it's normal. And it was just so easy to be regular, when I was, doing more of the raw foods. And so I've been kind of, going back to that. like in the last few weeks. So this isn't a coincidence. I just wanted to share that.
I'm glad that you mentioned it, because here's where we're trying to solve the issue, is that your body spends over half its energy digesting food. So if your body's spending most of its energy digesting food, how can you solve your relationships problems?
Wow.
Whether it's finances, whether it's intimacy, whether it's communication, whatever the issue may be, you can't figure it out if your brain doesn't have the maximum capacity to work through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so you incorporate this fast to say, hey, let's say there's a couple that needs to make more money for whatever reason. Then you can incorporate one of these fasts, put out a plan and say, hey, we want to develop a plan where we can increase our finances, start a business, get a promotion at work, whatever your goals may be. But you need your brain. You need your brain in order to do so. And if it's clogged up with, the starches, the meats, the sugars, the pop, the everything that you consume for the day, it's not going to do its best.
It's amazing because I read a number of books on like raw foods and eating healthy. I'm also a wellness coach myself. I wrote a book myself.
Awesome.
It's amazing how, to me, it seems like it should be a lifestyle to fast. And some people call it a fast. Some people call it, depending on your level of consciousness. I mean, for some people, it's a way of life to fast and to just do certain type of foods, or, minimize at this time of the month, or do this for so many days. I mean, to me, it's really a lifestyle and a mindset.
Of course. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, one book I wrote, she called it, Ellen Livingston, she calls it the detox diet. I mean, it's like your body is constantly, it wants nutrition, but it just takes what it needs and gets rid of the rest. And it's so important that we have all our channels open so that we can dispose of the things that the body doesn't need, right?
Of course. And we talk about that.
It's normal.
Right. We talk about that in the book, and we say, because a lot of the resistance that we get is, we're starving ourselves. And I'm like, let's go back to elementary school when we learned that fat is nothing but stored energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're constantly putting energy in your system, you're just accumulating more fat. If you just break down the science, instead of, making it this complicated, ordeal. But if you use a lot of the energy you already have, then you won't have to keep putting more, energy in your system. We can operate on what we have. If you study large animals, like the shark,
I was just thinking that.
if you think of sharks, if you think of bears, if you think of rhinos, at a time of famine, those animals can go months without food. I believe a shark can go up to a year without food.
That is amazing.
And they're more active than we are. They move around all the time. You know what I mean? So if you're telling me a ton, half a ton, I'm not sure exactly how much a shark weighs, but if a 1,000+ pound fish can go a year without food, then imagine what we can do as human beings.
It's really our mindset. It really is. I believe that. I really do believe it's mindset.
Yeah.
And and I think I read this about the horse, how the horse just eats grass. It just eats grass. That's it. Just grass.
And think about how muscular.
Yes, look how muscular they are. And when they can't eat the grass, when the weather changes, they eat hay.
Mhm.
And that's it.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I'm going back to nature. I'm looking at the animals and seeing what they're eating. And really, they're an example for us. And way back when, the Garden of Eden was literally in the garden. It was in the garden, eating from the trees.
Exactly.
The fruit, the leaves, the herbs. Everything was from nature. I believe that. I believe that there was not any meat in our diet. I believe that. I mean, because we're not carnivores. We're herbivores. We're
look at our teeth.
Yeah, look at our teeth.
Our teeth are flat. We're not meant to, crunch down on meat. We have to cook it. We have to boil it. We have to grill it. We have to find a way to tenderize that flesh before we can even consume it. Not to mention, it takes 8 to 12 hours to digest it. A real meat eater doesn't have to do all that, like an animal.
I know. You're so right. And I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me, just down to my core. It's like, that just doesn't make sense. We're not supposed to be eating meat. I mean, I don't even really desire it.
Yeah, we're trying to get people to wake up and say, hey, if you were to eat what you're supposed to eat, your body will feel better, therefore you will do better. If you're not putting your best foot forward, how fair is it to your partner? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, we have a lot of people who want their partner to make the first move or to make the situation better when they could be the person who initiated, or at least initiate the plan. And so we're saying, hey, incorporate a fasting lifestyle into your relationships and watch the changes.
So even like if they're having issues within their relationship, they can go on a fast together.
Exactly. When we were at our worst, before the fast, I was like 275 pounds, and and full of those toxins. I wasn't able to fully communicate with my wife about certain issues. I was listening to respond and not listening to understand, which is a big issue. Yep. And so we want to show that if you implement these plans, you can solve any issue.
Wow.
And even if that means that the relationship has to end, you would rather it end, on a cordial note, or say we've done the best that we could, rather that it goes down in flames. No pun intended.
Right. I get it. I totally do. So you mentioned that you guys went on a 33-day fast when you first met, or right before your wedding. Now, like, how about is a lifestyle thing? Like, how often do you fast now? How often should a couple fast?
Well, right now, I'm not allowed to fast because I am expecting in September.
Oh, wow. So, congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm not allowed to fast for a very long time. And that's going to be an interesting transition for me because we fasted together before we did the 33-day fast. We did day fast. We did just a day water fast. We did 2 weeks on liquids together. I think there was one New Year. We said, let's start the New Year off with the fast. So it's really coming together and listening to your body, first and foremost, about when it needs to happen. And then after you get an understanding of what type of fast works best for you and when is the best time to implement that, you can really start creating a calendar around fasting, around a detox. We have a friend our son's godfather, I believe, who he fasts once a month. Is it once a month or once every couple of months that he does a 3-day water fast?
No, it's every couple of weeks.
It's every couple of weeks? Okay, so about once a month. He does a 3-day water fast. And after doing further research, he's like, I can't go past 3 days because, and it's not anything to do with weakness, it's actually to do with his level of spirituality because he's already a fruitarian. He doesn't take in carbs and starch and things of that nature. He eats only fruit. And for him to fast already eating only fruit.
Right, he's already on a fast diet, right?
Exactly. He's on this higher level, this higher elevation. He's like, I can't be up there all the time. I have to come back down.
It can't be floating, right?
Exactly.
I get it. Can't be levitating, right?
Exactly. He's like, I felt so high. He's like, I think I tried to go 4 days left, but I couldn't do it.
That is amazing. It's funny that you say that because I'm sitting here now because I'm fasting today. I'm just eating, like, greens and fruit.
Oh, okay, good.
As you say that, it's like I just feel light. I feel lighter. I feel good. I feel free. It just feels good, to to fast and to just follow your intuition when your body and your mind, your spirit is leading you to do so. So
right.
I can definitely attest to that. Definitely.
And the issue that we have here in America is everything is conditioning and marketing. We are conditioned. We're conditioned and we're marketed that we have to eat 3 times a day. We got to have cereal. We got to have cereal for breakfast. We got to have a sub for lunch. We got to have steak for dinner. And a lot of us don't. We're not even hungry, and we just eat.
We're not even hungry. We don't even need it. It's just
right.
programming.
Everything is associated with the food. You eat popcorn at the movies. You get popcorn at the ball games or hot dogs.
Right.
Funerals, you got to stuff yourself right after. When you're on a first date, you go get something to eat, which is nothing wrong with that. But everything is conditioned around food.
And it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
And
yeah, because I was just, not long ago, right, it was like I was trying to be on a schedule because I was busy, and I'm like, I need to get some food in me, right? I'm like, I can't stop every so often, and eat. So I would intentionally try to, I'm going to eat at this time, breakfast, then lunch, then dinner, and it didn't work. I tried for 2 weeks. Every day something came up like, oh, you're not on schedule. I'm like, dang, I missed another day. So what I've come to conclude is that it's not meant to be that way. No. And to just let go and just listen to my body and just eat. I just think we should eat like so many times a day when we're hungry.
Exactly. And one thing that we do in the book is we show you when you eat the right foods, you will naturally feel full and feel good.
Right.
I believe I looked at, I think it was a muffin, like a blueberry muffin. A regular blueberry muffin would be the equivalent to eating 4 or 5 apples.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so when you eat those apples, you have, all the nutrients of the apple, the fiber and everything else. But after you eat that muffin, you then wolf down, 300 plus calories, and then you're hungry later because it's empty.
I know.
It's empty calories. And trust me, we're guilty of it too. Even though we have a vegan lifestyle, our Achilles heel is starch, fries.
Mhm.
We whenever we catch ourselves slipping, we usually are wolfing down a thing of fries. But
they sure taste good, don't they?
They do. Trust me.
When you do, I get it. I know.
It's really tough, and and for some people they're like, how could you why would you want to give up fries? And it's like, because we know they're not doing our body any good. Yes, right. They're salty, they're crunchy, everything else, but we know that grease is going to settle. You're going to get sleepy. You're going to be lethargic, and with us, we're trying.
Like, what are you doing?
Right. If we have, we have to parent. We have to, we still have full-time jobs. We have, we're, entrepreneurs. So we need every bit of energy that we can, possibly obtain. And fries, fries aren't usually the, the cream of the crop when it comes to fuel. So.
Okay. Awesome. Now, what events do you guys have coming up?
Well, we have the Lion's Den, that's on Woodward, April 22nd. It is the event of the love languages. What are your love languages? It goes from 3 to 6, and basically we help couples understand how to identify what your love language is and how to incorporate that into your relationships.
I like
and
that.
It's free.
I like that a lot.
Yep, it's free. There's going to be snacks. There's going to be wine. We're going to interact with everybody. We're going to get people talking, to get people, to further understand everything. And possibly there could be things that people can teach us. We named this thing we named this the coalition because we're looking for couples to join us on this journey, to join us and say, we want to do better. We want the best for ourselves and our significant others. And so, this is going to be something for everyone to enjoy.
Okay, good, because I'm single. I'm preparing for my twin flame. So is open to single people as well?
Oh, of course. And it's funny you say that because you have no idea how many people come and say, do you know anybody who, is my age and is looking for somebody, blah, 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 blah. We get it all the time. And, now we're at the point where we say, come to our event. We have, professional, single professionals, people who are, spiritually developed, because you don't want to pair people with just anybody.
That's right.
So usually our people are, are good people. So if you're single, definitely, check it out. If you need more information, just go to our website, www.twinflamecoalition.com, and has all the details there.
Awesome. Now, what services do you offer? I think you mentioned do you counsel couples?
Yes, we do. Sorry, I'm back now. Yes, yes,
oh,
we
great.
do.
I heard the baby.
Yep. So I had to go be a mom for a second. So now Dad's in. Yes, we do offer consultations. We offer consultations for people who are single, people who are in relationships, people who are in relationships but have some questions about their partner. We're confidential. We don't spill the beans. We also do things like our lectures and our workshops. We're working out a deal with one of the wellness centers in Detroit. We're keeping on the hush-hush until the papers are finalized, but we'll be making a weekly appearance where we will be doing workshops for free for Detroit to get the word out there and to talk about spirituality and relationships, because there aren't a lot of people doing this. There are a lot of people talking about fitness, and there are a lot of people talking about health and relationships. We want to talk about a healthy relationship. And how to make that work, how to possibly find that, and how to build that relationship with yourself first and make sure that you have a healthy relationship with you before you go try to include anyone else in there. At least have a firm understanding of who you are.
I like that a lot. So thank you so much. We're going to conclude the show. They can reach out to you on your website. Is that the best way to reach you?
Absolutely. You can go directly on the website, and you can go send us a message through the website, or you can email us at twinflamecoalition@gmail.com.
All right. So your website once again?
twinflamecoalition.com.
Awesome. You shared some very valuable information today. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Thank you
for sharing the information, sharing your knowledge, your experience, and thank you for being a guest on the Awakening with Katina Love show. And audience, thank you for being a guest, for listening and tuning in to the Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.